Welcome to today's HadeNuFF show, episode 31. We got a lot of new guests, a lot of old guests, and a lot of guests that always join. How's it going, old Dirty?
Hey, what's going on, Dave? What's going on, everybody?
How's it going, BearHugger29?
Doing pretty good, man. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me, man.
Glad you joined, man. I'm happy to see you. How's it going, Bexy and Flip?
How's it going, guys? Make sure you visit my channel to go to Neverland. You'll never want to come back.
How's it going, Big Dread?
Y'all already know I'm doing pretty good, playing games and taking names at the same time. You know.
How's it going, Coupon?
Hello, hello. How are all of you?
Glad to have you join. How's it going, Mr. T?
Hey, fools, what's going on?
How's it going, RXL? Guess RXL's doing something. And how's it going, Wolflow?
Oh, good. The noise cleared up. How's it going?
Yeah, RXL just green screened.
Alright, I guess what we're going to talk about first is this whole new Nintendo console that's in the works. I want to get everybody's opinion of, like, what do you think? Do you think they're going to drop it this generation, or do you think it's going to be next generation? Like, do you think Nintendo will come out and say, hey, we're just scrapping the Wii U, and we're going to just make a new Nintendo console for this generation? Old Dirty.
No, they're not. I don't think they're bringing out a new console, next year, anytime soon. I mean, we all know as gamers, hardcore gamers or whatever, I've been gaming for a long time, and I know all three companies. When you're in the hardware business, you know what I'm saying, once you put out a new console, you go straight to work on, the next console. Now, it's just early that Nintendo came out and said it first. So, people having a big issue over it, but, Microsoft or Sony could have said the exact same thing. It probably wouldn't have been that much news, but, I guess it's Nintendo because, it's the Wii U. So I guess everybody is guessing that, a new powerhouse system is coming, and we all know it ain't coming within, a few years from now. So.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, BearHugger29?
2017 I think is when they're actually going to relaunch the new next-gen console. Because, I mean, even Sony right now, they're already thinking about what they're planning on doing for the PS5, and they're thinking about either going physical or cloud. So, I mean, it's not like Nintendo was, technically the first to do it in a way. But yeah, if anything, though, it's not going to be this generation. No way. Because, like you said in your video yesterday, that they're basically going to fuck over a lot of people to do that. So, I mean, it's not as abysmal as, say, the Virtual Boy was when they launched that. Because that was only out for, like, what, a year before that shit got pulled off the shelves. But yeah, 2017, I think that's when it's going to drop. But I think it's going to be revealed probably at E3 2016, I believe. Nintendo usually has a 5 to 6 year generation before they move on to the next one.
Okay. I agree with you on that. I just don't think they're going to come out with it. Why would they do that to the fan base? That, they're now just buying those. They just bought it for Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. Why would they just totally scrap it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, they're not hurting for money. They're not going to be like, oh man, we got to get this other console out. But at the same time, nobody wants a failing console out. Like they want to see sales. But now they're just finally picking up sales.
Yep, definitely.
I could understand if the Wii U was still in the same position where it wasn't doing anything really. But now it's actually doing something.
It kind of reminds me of like the PS3, where it's like the 2 years on the market, it didn't really find its market until the third year in, and that's kind of like the way the Wii U is shaping up to be now, with all the games coming out and people are starting to find interest in it. It's just not going to sell as much to that of what the PS3 did. No, God no. But I think it's going to start to pick up momentum throughout the year of 2015 and whatnot. And hopefully, it keeps a steady pace going into 2016 as well before they announce their next gen console. Hopefully, but fingers crossed, I guess.
Yeah, you brought up a great thing because a lot of people seem to forget that the PS3, that thing struggled. Like everybody always disregards that. Like just look at last generation. Like I bought a PS3 day one, and it was like me and my brother got one, and it was like almost $600 I paid for the damn thing with taxes. I got the better model, and that thing just sat there and collected dust in my 360 I was playing. And everybody seems to forget, like, the PS3 had a very, very rough start, you know, and it finally started. The first big game on it was Resistance. Like, that was the first game that I remember playing that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, that game was awesome, yeah.
Yeah, and after, you know, before that, it was like I was just playing, I forgot, I wasn't using it. It was a Blu-ray player. That's what I bought for, a cheap Blu-ray player. And then towards the end of the generation, that's where the PS3 just fucking shined. But what do you think about this, Vexium?
I think he did have a good point. You know, everyone had a good point saying that the Wii U has taken a long time to really gain momentum. Collectors will always buy one because, you know, it's a Nintendo product and they've got their unique lineup of games. I think that the Wii U should have came out a year or two earlier than it did, not just because of the hardware being inside of it, but also, you know, it would have probably and most likely increased the sales, and, you know, it would have helped the momentum. But yeah, for me, Metal Gear Solid 4 was the first pinnacle in the beast that is the PlayStation 3. And I think that these new titles might just come out for the Wii U, because Nintendo really owes it to their audience to kind of put them on both whatever the hell their next system's going to be and this current system, and it'll also increase the sales of that particular game title.
What about you, One Stop for Gamers? Do you think that Nintendo's going to scrap the Wii U and put a, you know, make a new console for this generation, or do you think they're going to do it next generation?
I mean, I think it really depends. You know what I'm saying? I think it depends on really what the consumer base really demands at the end of the day. Because you got to remember, Nintendo used to be a juggernaut in the you know, when it comes to gaming. And I mean, as far as them dropping another system next generation, I think it's gonna be like somewhat in between. I think Nintendo best bet is to create a beast of a system, but be smart when it comes to marketing. So if they want to get a jump on, you know, the PS4, I mean the Sony and Microsoft, they need to make a beast of a system and still drop it before the PS5 or the Xbox 2 come out. But like I said, I think they might do it somewhere in between. I don't think it's going to be next generation or at the tip end of this generation. I think it's going to be somewhere in between.
But a lot of people seem to think if Nintendo comes out with this more powerful console like it's supposedly supposed to be, because I think I watched Review Tech USA's video where he was saying it's like 4 times more powerful than the PS4, the specs of this new console. But does that mean third parties are just going to jump on board and be like, hey, you got a more powerful console, here we are? I don't think that's the issue. I think it's money.
No, I don't think that them making a powerful system is going to determine if you know, third parties are going to jump on the bandwagon. I think if they make it where, I mean, it'd be good if they can make it powerful. You know, that's a plus with any console. But I think that making it where it's easier to develop games for it, developers will run towards that console a lot faster. So if they can get both, I think that'd be a good help. You know?
Can I add to that point quickly? The main thing that most people receive when they read these articles is that developers normally blame the hardware inside the Wii U, which I'm sure Mr. T-Tech and other people will, you know, will say, and it is true, that it is, you know, possible to put most of these games on the Wii U right now. But it doesn't really matter how powerful Nintendo's new system is, because, to be honest, none of the Nintendo's games really use that raw power, apart from games like Zelda. You know?
That's true.
Think about that one.
Yeah, that's true.
Did they confirm the specs of the new Wii U or the new Nintendo?
No, nothing yet. No.
Oh, then what the hell?
People that were saying that I think they're getting the whole Fusion thing, like where they read the specs off of that. A lot of people seem to think it's the Fusion versus. I mean, I looked into it.
No, I thought it was bumped a while back, and not.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of, you know, pretty much just a guessing game right now. But Miyamoto did confirm a new. He said a next generation console's in the works. You know, and people always, whenever they say this generation, they're always saying next gen. It's not next gen. It's this generation. Yep. Next generation will be next generation.
I believe Miyamoto said next gen because Nintendo hasn't joined next gen yet. They
Oh, wait, there you go.
Last gen console.
There you go. I was waiting on that.
But yeah, I don't see them doing it. Coupon, what do you think about this?
Okay, we are in current gen, people. Let's just get that straight. when he's talking about next generation, he means literally next generation.
Yeah.
Meaning, basically, right now, I think all this speculation and talk and stuff is just about the console that Nintendo's going to be is working on a Nintendo console for the next generation that comes out. I mean, it's just obvious. I don't think anything's coming out next year or the year after that. They'll probably make an announcement in what, early 2017, and maybe drop the new console maybe late 2017 or early 2018. We don't really know. Honestly, we don't know. It's just speculation right now. Everybody's flipping out, and it's funny to watch. But I mean, with the console that you need, maybe something a little more easier for developers to develop on. But then again, it just, for me, it says a lot that if they need a console that they can work in sets, if they need a console to be dumbed down for them, then what is their skill as developers? That's just how I see it. I mean, but it's whatever. I just honestly don't believe there's a new console coming out anytime soon.
Well, I think
We'll find out.
the reason people, like a lot of people are saying, oh, there's a new console coming, because a lot of people are always saying that Wii U's not powerful enough, it's not doing good. These are all the people who are hating on it.
Right, but then at the same time, if a new console does come out, you're not going to buy it because you're going to be mad you just got a Wii U.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. You would create like a big uproar with your fan base. That's just like shitting on the people that did buy the damn thing. Like, oh, you know, we're going to pay for that.
Yeah, they come out with a new system next year, I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be the first in the line. What the hell?
I mean, I don't know what was wrong when they dropped the new 3DS. And how long was the other one out? You know,
I was a little upset about that, but it was kind of time for the 3DS.
What do you think about this, Lamont?
Well, I think them making a new console will be most likely in 2017, 2018 as far as coming out. But as far as the power, it needs to be better than this generation. It needs to be better than 8th generation. As far as if it wants to be first, it just needs to be better. And they need to work on their advertisement. And maybe if they actually get off their crap, get off their butts, and maybe work on their dang online, maybe they can get somewhere.
And that's good you brought that up, Lamont. The online infrastructure is really bad. I agree.
Yeah.
Yep. Good point, man. What do you think, Mr. T?
Before I go into my spiel, I just want to say generation is an accumulation of time, not of power. So when they say next generation, it is the next generation, the next time set of consoles. It's not. It has nothing to do with power. I know a lot of people confuse that, but that's not the case. But anyway, yeah, when Nintendo stops making games for Wii U, that's when you know the next console is coming, because that's how they've been doing probably since N64. When there's basically nothing out there, you know the next system's coming. It happened with N64, it happened with GameCube, and it certainly happened with Wii. It was dead by the time they launched Wii U. And yeah, I know everybody isn't a Nintendo fanboy like myself, so you haven't been reading up on Nintendo as much as I have. I probably started becoming like a hardcore gamer probably early 90s when Super Nintendo first launched. And I remember, them talking about the Nintendo PlayStation and stuff like that in 1993, 94. And obviously, the Super Nintendo was still around, still thriving. And this is what Nintendo does. They do it every generation. I don't know why there's confusion and uproar. I don't know that they're releasing a new console. No, this is what they do. The minute they release their last console, they start working on the next one. This is just how it works. Everybody does that. And yeah, I guess Nintendo's talking about it now. And because I guess people feel the Wii U isn't doing as well as they would like, it's people put more onus on that. Because they're not selling enough, so they're trying to push out a new console. No, Nintendo will ride a console, an unsuccessful console, till the wheels come off. They did it with GameCube. They did it with N64. Well, N64 was a little bit better, but they're going to do it with the Wii U as well. So they're not going to jump. They're definitely not going to drop a new console when Zelda's coming out. Xenoblade Chronicles is coming out next year. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to even think this.
But honestly, I think they're more like one of the main factors too, as well, why Miyamoto came out and stated that they are working on next gen is because there's been a lot of people, including like people like Michael Packard, coming out saying that there won't be a next generation.
Right. That's another thing. Good point.
So yeah. So I think a lot of people, I think he just wanted to clarify that it's like, no, there is going to be a next generation. I mean, we don't care what Sony does, we don't care what Microsoft does, but from us, Nintendo, we are making a next gen console.
Right. They just want everybody to know, be reassured that there is another console coming.
Exactly.
Didn't Zelda and the original Xenoblade come out on the Wii's last year?
Yeah, those were the only games. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like the Wii U.
Right.
Are you sure about that?
What up, man?
What up? What up, Bear Hunter? What up?
What up, man?
Levon likes to do that type of stuff. We'll be talking on the podcast. He likes to say, "How's it going, Mr. T?" Yeah, Grimpachi, I'm sorry, man. It's a full house, dude. I wish I could get you in here, buddy. I know you're watching. But yeah, I agree with what Mr. T is saying. I don't think they're going to do that with dropping all these damn games that's coming. Why would they do that? That's the things you got to look at. Like, they got Zelda coming out. They got Monologue Soft Sex. They got all these games coming. Why are they going to say, oh, you know what, we're going to just scrap them games or whatever and just drop a new console? You know, release it.
Well, then again, too, Dave. I mean, Nintendo could come out, you know, next year, even though with those games that's coming out for the Wii U and just remaster them. So.
Yeah, that's true too.
I have a question for the room. What is this momentum that all you guys are talking about for the Wii U? I mean, isn't it selling still pretty horribly? I mean, in the didn't it sell under 200,000 units last week? Whereas like the Xbox One sold like 500,000 and PS4 sold like 700,000.
Yeah.
I mean, we expect that. I know I expected the Xbox to actually do well. I mean, look what they was doing. They was advertising everywhere. They knocked off $50. They had a bunch of bundles, and then when Black Friday came around, they still knocked off an extra like $30-40 to what they knocked off of $50. So yeah, I mean. But I expected, you know, Microsoft to actually, you know, do well for Black Friday, you know what I'm saying, and to, you know, the beginning of next year.
And horribly,
I mean, I had no doubt about that.
Not as well as your competitors. That means you're doing horrible. I think Burger King is still around, even though McDonald's is
it's doing horrible in general. I mean, you see an increase of sales, but everything increases in sales during the holidays. I don't think it's doing so much better than it did last year or the year before, years where it was considered a flop.
What about the games though? Have they
been but RXL, you gotta think about it. Look how many consoles is out of the market. You know what I'm saying? You got the 1, you got the 4, you got the U, you got the 360, you got the PS3, and those, you know, sold as well. I mean,
I agree. The Wii U has a very good reason why it's flopping.
Why?
But does it matter? I mean,
well, if you like to play third-party games, which is like over 90% of a console's library, I mean, yeah, it matters.
I mean, but I just get another console that has those. It's not that big a deal.
Yep.
This kind of.
I would like to be on the Wii U. Like literally, I would like to
be on the Wii U. These third-party games are not coming, but
yeah, I would definitely.
I think the Wii U can handle some of these games in 720p.
Oh, you more than likely can.
Per second.
Consoles are getting it.
Handle some of the games.
You can ask Vita owners that are waiting on that Gran Turismo and that God of War for their Vita sales matter.
I have a Vita. I'm not waiting for anything on the Vita. That's for sure.
See, this kind of segues into what I was thinking.
I have a Vita too. I love the games, but I like God of War is on it.
I know, right? But
check this out. Where is Nintendo powerhousing right now? Where are they dominating the market?
Handhelds.
What were they talking about? What were they talking about a while back and giving specs for?
Handheld.
Nintendo Fusion.
Nintendo Fusion.
So how do you know that this isn't? They're not going to have a Nintendo Fusion in between. That's going to be maybe what RXL was saying with his #reality had some truth to it. I mean, you got to give RXL credit there. Kind of inspired the channel.
Are you trying to say that they're working on another handheld, or
Handheld Fusion. So it's a.
that's
What if that's the 8th gen?
it's a mix. The Fusion was a mixture. It was like a handheld mixed with a home console, but I mean, we don't know if that's what Miyamoto was talking about.
I don't know. I don't think anybody knows, and I don't know why we care so much, because it's going to come out. It's going to come out. You're just going to buy the games and play them.
Well, you might not care, but a lot of other people care, because a lot of people are upset with the Wii U, and there's some people that are happy with the Wii U and don't want to see the Wii U dropped, and don't want to spend $300 on a fucking console and watch it just fucking be scrapped.
Yep.
So if you're not buying a Wii U, you should not care. But the people who buy a Wii U, you can fuck them.
Well, they are making things about the Wii U.
What if Sony tomorrow came out and said, "Fuck the PS4, we just don't want it no more. We're gonna drop, we're gonna stream all the games to the PlayStation TV thing." Like, wouldn't you be upset? You go to
Or have PlayStation Now be like what they want to do for next generation.
Studios will be on fire.
It.
Yeah,
But they didn't announce. Here's the thing. What I'm talking about is why everybody cares so much, because they haven't even announced that they're releasing another console at that time. They said they're releasing another console. So did Sony. So did fucking Microsoft. Sony's already talked about their 9th gen.
Sony announced that.
They said that one of the executives. That's why I was giving you credit, because he was talking about how they are going to have a 9th generation console. It may or may not be a virtual console.
Oh yeah, I heard about that today with Stone Fox Media talking about
Well,
that.
maybe I didn't hear that news. Is it fairly new news?
Yeah, that's actually kind of old.
Oh, okay. I didn't pay attention to that then or something. But I'm just saying this is like a big topic that people are talking about.
Well, I don't know why. That's what I'm saying.
I guess people care if they've invested in
Because it's Nintendo and it's
It's an investment. You're investing in your console, so people are concerned about their investment. They don't want to just have a console and then suddenly drop off.
I think gamers need to relax just a little bit.
I assume people are like me. They saw something that was purely a gimmick, like the Wii. We saw it become extremely successful and wanted the next gimmick that they tried to force down our throats to fail miserably. And it did.
HD gimmick.
use a salty mother.
That might not be the popular view, but if you really put fanboyism and all that aside and see what is on people's minds and how they feel, that's pretty much how they feel.
It offends me, RXL.
Yeah, people that don't have that's how people that don't have a Wii U feel.
I have a Wii U and I feel that way.
Yeah, you got one. You're alright.
I've got the Wii U's
But you're alright.
pretty good, bro.
You have a Wii U?
Play that thing like
I'm not worried.
I also have a Wii U.
Yeah.
I think just about everybody in here is a Wii U except a few people, and I would think everybody would be upset if they just scrapped the Wii U tomorrow. I mean, I would be.
Yeah, I would definitely be upset, but I'm not worried that they're going to do that. It's going to take them a while to make that damn thing, so yeah.
It would be nice to have a console where I could own every single game in its library.
What? What do you mean by that?
Like say the Dreamcast. You could buy a Dreamcast and go out and buy every single game that was ever released, and it could be a collectible, and you could do the same thing with the Wii U.
So do you think the Wii U is a good system?
Yeah, I do actually.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
see, a lot of people don't look into that. That the Wii U is a good console because it doesn't have third party. Just like RXL brung up in sales, for Black Friday, the Xbox and the PS4 outsold it. Well, yeah, it outsold it. Good bundles and third party support. Now, if Nintendo had third party support in these same games like Shadow of Mordor and Grand Theft Auto 5, and I'm pretty sure the Wii U would be right up there with it.
Yeah, that's one of the things that pissed me off about Black Friday, how Nintendo wasn't more aggressive on that shit.
Definitely.
They were more
They dropped the ball on that one.
Oh yeah, they did big time.
Nintendo needs to step up their advertising. That's their big
They got this kind of blasé attitude right now. It seems like I don't care, and they need to really step up their game plan.
Yeah, they
One
got
thing
that
I've
attitude.
noticed-
They don't care. I agree.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed with Nintendo and their pricing, especially towards games, is like there's really no used market for Nintendo because little kids don't know that used games devalue, so they hold on to their games, which is why used games are still very expensive
Yep.
on Nintendo consoles.
Well, there's grown people on the Nintendo console too that are into gaming, and I don't sell my games as far as Nintendo is concerned because I like them. They have replay value. So yeah.
I don't understand why people think it's a bad thing that it would be for kiddies. I mean, kids don't want to have fun, and isn't having fun a good thing? When is that not a good thing?
Yeah, you like they want to exclude kids from gaming, but you were a kid when you became a gamer.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
on,
Don't make
on
I
sense.
still
Nintendo
am.
consoles.
We're all big kids at heart anyway. We're playing on a freaking game console. It's a freaking toy, so what's
And we're all social rejects.
we're all supposed to be.
Exactly.
I mean,
We
society
all-
didn't like us growing up, so, you know, society put a freaking stigma on us growing up, so what's the big deal?
We are
It's
all
mainstream now,
children.
right?
Well, technically, consoles are more like computers than they are toys.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Yeah,
Wii's
they
more
are.
like
Yeah,
a toy.
they're innocent
but-
there.
Oh god, please guys, here we go again.
So what?
Sake.
I don't care. They're all toys.
the Wii, you know, the original Wii is more like a toy because you know, you play with it. It's like a
It's a game console, and it's a toy as well.
It's like a sex toy.
PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Wii U, they're toys.
Like a G6. I'm joking.
Sex toy.
They're all toys.
It's
So,
like
Wolflow, when I ask you this question, you're not going to care, right?
Pardon me?
You're the next one on the list. Is what do you think about the whole Nintendo Wii home console that's in the world? Do you think they're going to drop it or what?
Oh. Do I think, well, when do I think they're going to drop it? I don't know. I mean, they really haven't announced. It could
They're going
be.
to scrap the Wii U and make a new console. Why would those questions?
They wouldn't. Why would they scrap the Wii U next year when they have games that are special released that
Well,
16? Like,
that's true, but
Tamagotchi's.
there's people I've seen videos thinking that they're going to scrap the Wii U and make this new console this generation. That's why I'm asking the question.
You got like Shenmue or Shin Megami Tensei coming out 16, so I don't know why they would scrap it before that. It would be after that, obviously. Probably late then or late 17 for holidays.
Okay. All right, we covered that topic. We made it through. What do you think about the whole Wii U thing?
They're making a new console.
Supposedly, Miyamoto announced the other day that they are a next-gen console is in the works. Like, do you think they're going to drop the Wii U and make this console this generation? Or wait?
I mean, maybe 3-4 more years of the Wii U, then the new system comes out. Maybe that's. I mean, but I don't think they'll just abandon the Wii U. Nintendo normally doesn't do that when it comes to their home consoles, at least. The only time they abandon their home console is like when they're about to release the new console. Then you don't see anything come out for the last console, pretty much. But until that happens, I think we got 3 to 4 more years with the Wii U.
Mm-hmm. I can respect that. All right. The whole thing. The other thing I want to talk about, I guess I'm going to bring this up now. The whole thing with the downgrades and stuff. I mainly want to talk about Zelda, and I want to ask everybody's opinion. From Zelda, the first thing you showed with the tech demo, the thing at the live event at E3, what we just saw. When was the last thing we just saw of Zelda? At the Video Game Awards show. Have you seen a difference from each time they showed Zelda? And I'm asking, do you think it is like downgraded or at least different than what we've seen? Bearhugger 29.
As far as the tech demo goes, from what we saw in 2011 when they first revealed the console, yeah, I just looked at it nothing more than a tech demo because it was a tech demo for Twilight Princess. I know that a lot of people wanted the art style for the new Wii U version of actual Zelda to look like that, and to an extent, I won't lie, I definitely wouldn't mind seeing that myself. But either way, I'm happy with it. Period. 'Cause, I mean, I prefer the cartoony kind of look in the sense. That's the way Zelda always has been, at least for me, anyways, with the exception of Twilight Princess. But as far as what we've seen this year at E3 to Video Game Awards, it's very hard to tell because there was no direct feed from the Game Awards actual show, so it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, it still is in development, but at the same time, I mean, I can't really say that if it was a downgrade or not because it's so hard to tell.
Well, was it different? That's too. If it's not a downgrade, was it different?
From what I've seen, not.
Because I didn't get that cartoony look from the one at the live event. I mean, yeah, from the live event to the award show.
Oh, I still saw that. That's still there. It's just like, have you guys seen like the zoomed in ones? Like Game Explained did it, and a couple other sites did their own. They zoomed in. Like if you look closely at it, you can still see the cartoony look of the actual characters, like specific shots and things. It's so hard to tell because it's being recorded on a TV fucking screen, so it's very hard to tell and see that intact. If it was direct feed, then that problem would definitely be solved. We would definitely see if it was downgraded or not. But yeah, I mean, given the fact that the game is still in development, Nintendo's very awkward when they do development process with the games because they go backwards, not working by graphic fidelity first. So I don't know. It really depends. I mean, I will have to wait until they actually do reveal actual indirect footage. But so then I didn't really see a huge difference as far as whatever you want to call it. Some of the game mechanics were still there. Like the whole slow jumping off the horse, that was still intact. I'm surprised they actually managed to get that in the game period. So that was just like a cinematic kind of event. But I don't know. So far, from what I've seen so far, I mean, I didn't really see too much of a difference. But
didn't Link look different?
Not really.
Not really. No. I mean, I think the only thing I was missing was the ponytail. I think I don't remember if I saw it or not. I could be wrong.
Ponytail was there.
Oh, it was there. Okay. Yeah. He still was wearing the same outfit and whatnot. He still had the same. The only thing I did notice though is that I couldn't really tell because it was so difficult to see. Just the bow and arrow it did like at the E3 trailer that we saw.
Oh, okay. What do you think about it, Vexium Swift? Do you think did you see all the showing of Zeldas like that they showed off, the new Zelda?
Yeah, I did, and you know what, Nintendo, you're lucky I'm in a good mood, because man just got asked out on a date to a girl that I really like. But anyway, I think, honestly, you know what, it does look like a downgrade, but to be honest, the art style is so good in these games that I do not give a shit. I even like the original. Everyone loves the original Nintendo games, it's not about graphics really, it's about how much effort these artists put into the game, and the horse, everything like that. Character looked amazing. Some people even said that he looks like a bloody female, but whatever. I think that it was a slight downgrade. Like look at Borderlands, yeah, that's got cel-shaded visuals, but everyone knows that's Borderlands. Everyone knows that that's Zelda, with the Wind Waker and stuff like that. So I don't have a problem with it as long as the gameplay is really good and the story is brilliant. That's cool.
All right.
That's a system seller, that game.
What about you, One Stop for Gamers?
I seen a slight difference in it, but I'm with Vex. I really don't give a fuck because it looks pretty cool to me. It ain't a big difference to the point where I need to make a video and rage about it.
But there is a difference, though, right?
Yeah. I seen this. Yeah, I seen a slight difference. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it wasn't nothing to the point where people should be getting upset and mad and screaming and yelling and making rant videos about. I'm fine with it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I will be getting it.
The main thing I want to address is the difference. Like I never said it was bad. I just said it looked different.
Oh, okay. I agree. But yeah, I did see a slight difference. But like I said, ain't nothing.
Grimpachi, you saw the Zelda footage, right, of all these 3 events that they showed this at?
Yeah.
Okay, do you see a difference from each one, or no, or?
I mean, other than the art style being different, I mean, that's pretty much it. The art style's different.
But there is a difference, right?
Yeah, but like if you're like asking, if you're just asking the direct difference, yes, there is. But if you're talking about like technical downgrades, I mean, from a technical standpoint, other than the art style being different, I don't notice anything else.
But that's a difference. The art style is a difference.
Yeah, but like when people say like a game has been downgraded, that's a little different from the art style. It's not the same. Like the tech demo looked more like a Twilight Princess art style or a Ocarina of Time art style, whereas this Zelda kind of looks like a Skyward Sword, shell shaded, realistic bodies, but they don't look like cartoon characters like Wind Waker, but it's like a bright color palette. So that's just an art style change. That's not necessarily like a downgrade when it comes from a technical point.
All right, I can respect that. What about you, Peacock?
Yeah, there's definitely a difference, but at the same time, as far as the tech demo is concerned, it's basically a tech demo. It would have been nice to have it in that style, but I see why they switched up and picked a different style, and I'm kind of comfortable with the new style. As far as the difference between what we saw at the E3, I believe it was, and what we saw at the awards, definitely a difference. Um, but at the same time, I'm used to Nintendo building their games from the ground up and working on graphics later. So I'm expecting new stuff later on and better graphics, a better upgrade, as it were. So it's not downgraded, it's upgraded, but they're starting from the ground up. So we just gotta wait and see what they come up with. But there's definitely a difference.
All right, I respect that. And a lot of people gotta take in consideration this too. Not everybody's a YouTuber. Not everybody follows gaming news like we do. And that guy that just randomly plays video games that grew up on Nintendo and sees this tech demo, they're like, wow, shit, that looks fucking awesome. And then they go buy a Wii U and then they look at what they got now and they're like, well, that don't look like what they showed off. That's the average person that's not looking into, oh, that's a tech demo or that's this. You gotta understand that point of view.
Yeah, that's a little misleading.
I mean, a lot of people we're not all these, everybody's not these people looking at gaming forums and gaming news and making YouTube videos. Like the average casual gamer would look at that and be like, okay, that's the next Zelda, hell yeah, I bought a Wii U. And this Zelda comes up now, and this is the new Zelda, and they're like, well, wait a second, that's not what we see at that time. We've got a darker Zelda going on, it looks very more like a type of game that is 10 times different than what we saw now. Like it's
Joe the gamer.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you gotta look at that point of view too.
Yeah, you gotta look at it from that point. And
not everybody follows shit like we all do. What do you think, Levon?
I think besides the art style, there wasn't really that huge of a difference. I mean that was just a tech demo just to show off the Wii U's next gen power. But other than that, between the E3 2014 demo and the Games Awards demo, I couldn't really see a difference.
All right, I could respect that. What about you, Mr. T?
Now, we talked about this before. Again, if you're talking about the 2011, again, the E3 2011 demo where they showed the tech demo, and they said it during that demo that this is not the next Zelda game. This is a tech demo of showing you what the Wii U is capable of, basically. So I knew that the next Zelda wasn't going to be like that because before, in previous articles, Aonuma said he loved the direction of Skyward Sword as being a visual representation of what the Zelda he always wanted to see. So that's my preface. And so going from the new visual style that we got at E3 2014 this year, and going from that to the Game Awards footage, what I'm saying, again, from my technical expertise, I'm a videographer, I'm a video editor, I deal in motion graphics, that's my profession. I'm saying that you cannot tell the difference between a direct feed of a game and a video shooting a TV screen of a game. You're not going to be able to tell because you're going to get muted colors, you're going to get motion blur, especially. So it's going to be hard to tell anything as far as textures in the game from the direct feed to the on-screen of a shot of your video footage. You know, because you're dealing with outdoor lighting. I don't know if you remember the shot, but they were sitting next to a really bright window. So that's gonna change the aperture in the camera that they're using. So you're gonna get muted colors and all this stuff. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that the game was a downgrade or upgrade. I'm saying, from my technical expertise, you cannot tell that based on the E3 2014 footage and the Game Awards footage. Is all I'm saying.
All right. What about you, RXL?
Yeah, there's a pretty clear downgrade. I mean, you're not going to be able to tell things like resolution or colors. Mr. T's right. Mr. T's right. But you can tell that there's a lot less going on screen at the same time, and you got to question why it's off-screen gameplay. I mean, you can't blame Nintendo that they all do it.
Yeah.
They all hook you with that initial teaser, that trailer, and then you never get the same game they show you the first time. Never. It never happens. You don't even get the same game that they show you in the commercials that run a week after you bought it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, you got a point.
That's because you're looking at a cutscene in the commercial, though.
I need an example from Nintendo that when they've done that, because when I saw Mario 3D World, it looked better when I got the game.
Yeah.
So I want to see an example. Give me an example of where Nintendo has done that. I'm not saying they have it. I just want an example of when they've actually done that before. Because that's the thing about Nintendo is they always get flack for is they don't hype their stuff up enough, and they're too kind of tight-lipped and quiet about this stuff. So I just haven't had. I've been a Nintendo gamer since '85. So I've never had an example of when they've actually bullshotted. I think that's the term, bullshot.
How about almost every 3DS game ever released? Because when you look at screenshots of 3DS games, they look HD, but when you get them on your 3DS, they don't look like that.
Again, that's the difference between a direct feed and you looking at a screen from your perspective. So you're never gonna get. It's never gonna look as good.
Okay. Look, it does not matter about fucking graphics when it comes to Nintendo. I'm just keeping it real. It doesn't. It's the game titles, the storyline, everything that's missing right now in games design. Nintendo, you can rely on that. I'm just keeping it real.
Don't forget, they actually sell you a full fucking game.
Yeah, no DLC, none of that shit. Apart from
Thank you,
America.
Vex, for joining us.
Hey,
I'm just keeping it real. Look,
what
I'm just.
What
I have.
kind of graphics card do you have in your PC?
Who, me?
Yeah.
GTX 780.
That's a pretty nice card for somebody that doesn't care about graphics.
I do care about graphics, but
We
when
all
I play a
care.
Nintendo title,
we
I'm
also
looking
care about
for that, a unique experience that Nintendo themselves can offer me, like Sony and all the other developers did in the 90s, Final Fantasy VIII, those kind of level storylines.
Okay.
I play everything. I have a Vita right now, but I'm a hardcore. I'm a pretty strong PC gamer. I actually build games myself. I just like. I play Rainbow Moon, for example. The game doesn't look that amazing, but the gameplay and the storyline is what keeps me going in it.
All right. What do you think about Wolflow? Do you see a difference in Zelda or no?
Well, I'm glad you brought Vex on because I really like his input on all this. As far as a downgrade, well, it's still an early build.
Not necessarily just a downgrade. Is it different too than what we've seen each time?
Okay, it's different, yeah, and we saw it in all different circumstances. And to me, yeah, it looks like it's still in development. At the same time, from what I've seen, this looks more appealing to me than what you originally saw or what that original trailer was in the first place. And to me, I like this. I mean, I can get that from PlayStation 4 or Xbox, like Darksiders or something like that. This game looks unique. It looks like probably my most anticipated game.
But this is the big complaint with Sony gamers, and I'm going to bring David Maddox into this. I wish he was in the podcast, but he says the reason he don't game with Nintendo is because they don't offer those type of games, the darker type games, and he says that's why he prefers Sony. He says there's nothing wrong with Nintendo, it's just not what they don't offer what he wants, like the darker Zelda that a lot of people want, and maybe a more bloodier Metroid. You know what I'm saying? Like something that they don't normally do, like what Sony, you said, what Sony and Microsoft are doing.
Well, I mean, I could kind of answer that, like, all right. Nintendo does offer dark Zelda games. If you played, what is it? You play Twilight Princess, Majora's Mask. I'm pretty sure some more that I just can't think of off the top of my head. But they offer dark games. It's just the difference between dark, in my opinion, and what dark is and someone else's or definition is different. Like someone will say Halo's dark because there's violence. I don't feel Halo's a dark story. I don't feel it's a dark game at all. But someone says dark because you kill aliens, it's blood. They'll say that's a dark game. I don't feel that's dark. But I'll say Metroid is more eerie than Halo is, or darker. But hey, if we're just chucking up to blood, on the wall, And keep in mind, you know, I know David, and David's favorite game on PS4 is Knack, so I don't know why he's looking for a dark game. He looking at so.
And you had GameCube had Resident Evil on lock. They had Eternal Darkness. Wii U has Bayonetta 2. It has Devil's Third coming out. I mean, there are games. You know, I don't know if you want every game to come out to be dark. I don't know why you want it, but
Bayonetta 2 is dark.
It's
well,
not.
I don't mean dark. I don't know. I don't even know what dark is. Dark is not a.
I guess when you're saying
a more unhappy, a more color, like you know how they're all colorful and cheery. Like
I think
don't bring more depth and stuff like that.
As someone who studies games cultures, I think what he means is the difference between like Manhunt and Just Cause 2,
There we go.
or Dark Souls 2, White Knight Chronicles.
Give
JRPG.
Mario a fucking AK-47. That's what people. You know?
Why do they want
Yeah,
that?
but see, now, if you change Mario like that, that kind of ruins what Mario stands for.
Takes
But
away.
how
I'm
many?
not
How many?
saying Mario. I'm not saying necessarily. But I'm giving you an idea. They
How many Sony have though?
Okay.
The Last of Us, probably.
Yeah, like a game like The Last of Us, like Nintendo comes out with their own version of some sort of that type of game. That's what David Maddox is saying. They don't offer those type of games. They got Devil's Third and all that, but that's very rare. They're
That's
not
because
an IP.
Naughty Dog isn't developing for
They're
it.
not pushing like their main games. Their main games they push is Mario, and we all know why. Mario fucking sells. It's the top selling game.
Mario is setting turtles on fire with fireballs. He's pretty dark.
Yeah, Mario like abused game.
He's ingesting mushrooms.
Mario,
everybody on the map.
Mario's story is horrible. Mario's takes goals from turtles. Gets off by letting Princess Peach gets captured. I think that's like how they how he busts a nut. I mean, I don't know.
There's skeletons in Mario games.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that Nintendo, because they're so good at doing platformers, they should make a game like Heart of Darkness, if anyone remembers that game, which was on the original PlayStation. It was a very scary platformer game that wasn't, like gimmicky scary. It was actually, you had, shadows and things like that coming after you, and your character could get ripped in half from the smallest things. I think they could do well with that, Don't know about storyline direction, but,
Okay, I can respect
A
that.
lot of game developers did okay in English class.
I mean, like I was saying, like when it comes to dark, I know David loves Sony. Like David is Joel, he is Drake. We know this, but I mean, the only dark game I can think of off the top of my head that Sony actually really has is probably The Last of Us. They don't have a shit ton of dark games either, do they?
I'd say Killzone.
Resistance.
Is Killzone dark or is it
Metal? I mean, come on.
Are those games dark?
Twisted Metal's not dark.
Maybe Twisted Metal.
Yeah,
but
Twisted Metal's definitely
when it comes to Twisted Metal. When it comes to Twisted Metal story, when it comes to like a Sweet Tooth story, I get how it's dark, but it's not taken that way for most people.
Dark. When they say dark, just like a more violent video game, I guess you'd say.
Basically, M-rated. Basically what you're referring to, like M-rated wise.
Yeah, I'm just talking like he says Nintendo don't go after those type of games that like those. If we all go back to Super Nintendo, where we used to play games like fucking Street Fighter and all them type of games, and Castlevania, all those type of games. Those were more darker games that Nintendo used to have, and they don't offer that no more. Like they don't, and that does come a lot from third party. But I'm just saying, Nintendo don't push any of their main games with anything. It's always more like friendly for everyone. Like that's what he's trying to say. It's definitely not what he usually like. They're like The Last of Us, Uncharted. Those are more like when people say the word dark, I think a lot of people take it wrong. I think it's meaning more like I think it's to do with like just violence and all that type of stuff. And Nintendo don't offer those type of games. They used to back in the day. You used to get them.
But Nintendo is Nintendo. It's like me telling, hey Dave, why don't you be black today? You're a white guy, but be black today. But you can't do that.
But I'm saying, like a game, like would Nintendo come out tomorrow and bundle the Devil's Third? No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. It wouldn't come bundled with
I
the
mean,
Wii
but
U.
they also didn't bundle Wonderful 101. They own that, so
They
How
bundled,
about the
they
game?
bundled Zombie U.
They don't go after those type
they
of
did.
games.
Yeah, they
Like
did bundle
that's what
Zombie
David
U. Yeah.
Maddox was saying.
yeah, they did bundle Zombie U though.
They bundled Zombie U.
Yes,
Nobody.
bundles
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay, you got me there.
Is Zombie U a dark game?
But
I
it
wouldn't consider
is.
it
But
No,
it's
but
zombies. It's not as realistic.
they push
It's
them.
not realistic.
Don't look realistic. What?
Okay.
It's zombies.
I think that
Zombies.
You get what I'm saying? One stop.
I think that the problem is third party overall. I don't think it's just that particular type of game that Nintendo was missing. I think it's a variety of games that needs to be on the platform. Because even if Nintendo was to come out and say, you know what, let's drop a couple of, M-rated games, would that really be a big help? It might help a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be a major push. I think Nintendo just need the third-party support that everybody else is getting to. I think that will help them. A variety of games, not just.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
I'm going to add to my buddy One Stop's point. I'm going to say that Nintendo.
Party support is like a role in a movie, kind of in a sense. It's like the PS4 and Xbox One getting the big roles, like the lead roles, And the Wii U getting like the supporting minor roles, if you kind of think about it in this sense, as far as third party goes.
I think Nintendo should have it like the PlayStation 3 was, where Sony had a killer game for each genre, a unique Wii U game, for example, and they have the added third-party support, like Dredd said, because they do need that up-to-date, online connectivity, and I think they should do more with the 3DS, the 3DS pairing, like Sony's doing with the Vita.
Well, and that's like David Maddox said too. I wish he was in the podcast. He said he's watching The Dark Knight with his daughter.
I wish he was in here. He's got some weed for me, and I'm joking.
He said Mario and all these guys, all these games are always doing the same thing. What is Mario's main objective? To go save the princess. What does Link do? It's all the same thing.
No, Mario's main objective is to explore the game world that he's in. The whole story of saving the princess is just an afterthought. Nintendo games are not about the story. They'll never be about the story.
No,
gameplay first. And if you're gonna tell me that Super Mario Brothers on NES is the same thing as Super Mario Galaxy, we got some issues.
But it's the same objective. You're always saving the prince. I don't know, maybe not on but usually he's saving the princess, right?
I think
Mario's about exploration.
That's a minor part of the game.
I think what he's talking about is just strictly the main story. That's what he.
The objective.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
If Mario's about exploration, why is there a time limit on it?
Because other games
Why is it a time
limit?
RXL, to be fair about that, that's like saying Dead Rising's not about exploration. It has time.
Yeah.
What Mario?
But it had a longer time period.
Why would they have
It's a much longer time limit though than like 200 seconds.
Well, why would they have the green stars then?
This is
Like you guys are both right. You're just looking at it in different ways.
I understand where Dave's coming from on that aspect.
To talk though, everybody's over talking. It happens because there's always a lot of people on the podcast. I love all your opinions. I just give everybody a chance to talk. That's all. I'm not attacking nobody. Everybody's over talking to each other. Whoever wants to go first is more likely.
RXL, are you talking about like Super Mario 3D World?
All of them.
But they all don't have time limits, so that's just.
Yeah, they're all about exploration. They are.
If they were about exploration, you would think they would remove the time limit.
Then why
And that way you could explore the world.
There's plenty of time.
They have it in the last couple 3D Mario games, RXL. Why didn't they do that for the last couple 3D?
I believe there is a time limit in the last 3D Mario, isn't there?
No. I'm talking about the last 3D Mario games, like Mario Galaxy, Mario Galaxy 2.
But aren't there like 30 Mario games?
I said 3D
Not
Mario.
canon ones, no.
But I thought Galaxy did have a time limit.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
It didn't.
Didn't they have some mode where you had to have a time limit or something?
No, I mean there might be. I can't remember. There might be special worlds where.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that.
Galaxy would be a great example of saying a Mario game, you know, is for
Sunshine,
exploration.
Mario 64.
Yeah, those would be like 3 great examples. The problem is we can't say Mario's a game about exploration when 3 out of the 30 have no time.
So you're telling me you go through Mario games, you just go straight through them, looking at the timer the whole time, worrying about getting to the flagpole or whatever at the end.
Well, that's
You don't look around when you're playing a Mario game.
Luigi, the time limit.
When the time limit expires, you die. So yeah, you kind of have to look at it.
Yeah.
Me dying from, based on the time limit is very rare in a Mario game. That's just me though.
I mean, I get
Luigi U.
What was that?
In Luigi U, isn't it based on a minute you got?
Yeah, it's more like a speed run kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a speed run. I mean, that's the DLC basically.
But there is a time limit to Mario. In a lot of games of Mario, there is a time
Nobody's not saying there's not a time limit, but what I'm saying is there's adequate enough time to explore. That's how you find the secret worlds. You're exploring. You have to find, these are secrets. They're not like right out in the front of you. You have to explore the game to find these things. And that's a big part of Mario.
Okay. How do we even get on this?
I have no idea how we
were talking about how.
But no, your friend was talking about
Nintendo.
Your friend David was talking about how like Mario, you basically do the same thing. Like you save the princess. I get where David's coming from. Like to use Sonic as an example. For you as a gameplay, like just playing the game, probably most people's objective is because Sonic's fast. Let's beat the level as fast as I can. But the story of Sonic normally is let's defeat Dr. Eggman and collect the Chaos Emeralds. So it depends on how you're looking at it. If you're looking at it from gameplay standpoint, Mario is pretty much about trying to collect everything, get through you, and really no, because in Mario I want to speed run it too and not get hit. So I don't know. It could be a bunch of different things, but the main story of Mario is normally save the princess.
Now you do all know on the next Mario game that they're making with this next generation console, whenever it comes out, Mario is going to change his role. They said.
Yep.
Okay, you all know that. So they are changing the role of saving the princess. That's all. Bloop.
Well, I mean, they changed like
you didn't save the princess. You didn't save the princess.
3D world.
I'm just saying that's most likely.
This is gonna save Mario.
That's already happened before.
That's what Miyamoto said. They're changing the role of Mario, so I would assume it's not going to be saving the princess.
They're gonna make him a carpenter instead of a plumber.
He might be a carpenter. He might be a fucking wrestler. I don't know. It's changing the role of Mario.
That would be
I think that's a good thing. I think Nintendo's probably getting tired of hearing shots that even like the last video game award show, whoever came out, they said, you saw Mario sitting there and he says he's saving the princess 40,000 times or whatever he said. They made that joke. A lot of people think that when you think of Mario, he's always saving the princess. Like, I have heard that argument a lot of times in my life. I mean, but I'm not saying just because you play a Mario game, that's all you're doing. You do a lot of different things every Mario game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what'd be cool if they made a platforming RPG, a Mario RPG.
I think
they already have a bunch of
platforming too.
Paper Mario and stuff like that.
Like a 3D platformer RPG.
It's not 3D, but Paper Mario exists. Like
yeah.
What about Paper Mario?
In a 3D
Even
world.
handheld RPG ones too, as well, with like Mario and Luigi and the Superstar Saga and shit like that.
No, but I mean like the new Mario 3D world, but
it's RPG
combined with.
Oh, yeah, that would be badass.
You mean like Galaxy?
Kind of.
Saying like Mario meets maybe Zelda or something. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
They've milked Mario to death. You can find a game featuring Mario of every genre except like first-person shooter.
Yeah, man, and Chevy milked Camaros and Ford milks the F-150. They need to stop making those,
Have you played that?
Like honestly, in my opinion, like Mario is such a vet. Like he fits. He can easily actually do a lot of genres, get away with it easily. He's already been doing that now for a very, very long time.
I did find it interesting. That was the first thing they said about this next generation console when they mentioned the game. If they're going to change Mario, his role. Like, that was the first they wanted. They said every generation they want to bring Mario is usually the the game that usually starts at, it's usually the game they released with their console or whatever. Usually.
Yeah.
And they want to change the role of Mario. And I thought that, yeah, shit, might be a good thing. I know a lot of people get upset. A lot of people don't want voice acting in Zelda. A lot of people do. A lot of people get upset if Link had a voice. And a lot of people want that. A lot of people don't want that. But it is. Next thing I want to ask, I just want to do it real quick since I talked about with Zelda. Did you see a downgrade from Uncharted from what we first saw at Uncharted at E3 with him waking up to that PlayStation experience, Bear Hugger?
Yep. Yes, we did.
Now, why did you see a downgrade?
Well, I mean, even though like people are now saying that, or coming out saying that, oh, it was just like an what do you call it, like a cinematic video, but even though Naughty Dog came out on Twitter and said that it was actually in-game graphic-wise, as far as what the downgrade, I honestly don't know why they did it. I have no idea. Maybe to make the world bigger. Who knows? I have no idea. That's a developer's thing. If they don't come out and actually specify why, I have no idea. But yeah, you can definitely see the downgrade there. I mean, hell, even a couple games they showed off at the Game Awards, man. Like The Witcher 3 had a downgrade. But even though they actually are delaying it again to actually fucking fix out the actual downgrade problems, that got a lot of backlash for that too as well. So honestly, I don't know. It's definitely there.
I gotta bounce, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Mr. T, for joining me. I appreciate it.
Later, dude.
Yeah, sorry, I've been in 3 podcasts today. I'm gonna get divorced. Get out of here.
Thank you for joining, man.
All right, y'all.
All right,
man. Take it easy, man.
But yeah, so you do see a downgrade from Uncharted. All right. Is that you have any more to add, Bear Hugger?
It's not a bad thing though. I mean, I've seen a lot of people get pissed about it, and it's just like it depends on like what they're actually doing. If they're making the game bigger, that's a plus. So I mean,
Oh
play
my
the
God.
Well,
actual
the
console.
thing-
I'm gonna say this, yeah.
The thing I want to add to this argument, to me, Uncharted's first thing they showed wasn't even like any gameplay footage. It was just like a cut.
Thank you. I can't wait to use my turn.
I think some
Am I
people
the only one that
forget.
feels that way?
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt too as well. And I was like, oh wow. And they're saying that it's they're like Naughty Dog came out and stated that it was actually in game, and I was like, that looks really good cutscene wise. Yeah, that's what I was saying before. That's why I'm not surprised that people are pissed off about it at the same time, because a lot of people believe that because they came out word of mouth from Naughty Dog themselves.
Dave.
What about you, Vexium?
Okay. Some people forget how well Uncharted plays as an engineer from an engineering standpoint. Yeah, there's hardly any loading screens. The game is flawless, from start to finish, including The Last of Us, of course. And that's what they try and go for. So, and if it is playing at 60 frames per second, even though I don't care about that on the PS4, you've got to remember this generation is about convenience, not about graphics.
Yep.
It is. That's why the Xbox One was designed the way it is. The PS4 is more for the core gaming demographic, but that is the whole point. That's why they played it the safe way. That's why both systems have 8 gigs of RAM. You don't need 8 gigs of RAM for gaming. Just saying.
Okay, so did you see a downgrade of Uncharted or no?
You know what? I saw a slight downgrade, but you know what I was looking at the most? The fucking gameplay. Like, just, him shooting guys and
that's what matters the most, man.
Seeing how it interacts with the world, the new animations, the new character model, because they don't reuse character models in Uncharted or The Last of Us. Naughty Dog doesn't. They're an art team, and they're a very technical team.
Okay. What about you, One Stop for Gamers? Did you see a downgrade from what we first saw Uncharted to what we see now? The PlayStation experience?
Okay, I'm gonna just say this here. I just want to know who in the fuck saw gameplay, right? Before they actually showed us gameplay. So when they ran around and started saying, oh my god, they downgraded down, I'm like, well, can I at least see the other gameplay? Because last time I checked, that was the first time we saw gameplay. So how do you compare, in graphic, basically a cutscene that was in game to actual gameplay when that was the first time we saw gameplay? How do you compare gameplay when that's the first time we seen it?
But
beating with a dead horse.
Bear Hugger said that they did. Naughty Dog came out and said that was gameplay, the first one, which I don't see how that was actual. I thought
that's why I didn't believe it myself too as well. But when they said that,
it was the first time we saw game. We know when the first time we seen gameplay. You cannot compare gameplay when you don't have You know, like just like saying I show y'all some gameplay of a game I created today for the first time, and then some idiot jump and say, no, that's been downgraded. Well, how do you know that? This is the first time you saw it.
Yo,
Yeah, that's.
I know who came out and said all this. The guy who said that DX12 will make games look like Avatar graphics.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't go there. Don't get me started. Please.
Next gen, Zaire said that. He did.
Don't get me started.
I think he
shit,
meant his Xbox
you're gonna
avatars would
You're gonna
look
get
better.
a flag now for saying his name. He who should not be named. He's gonna come at that rabbit cage and eat you alive.
No, what he meant to say was he was watching Avatar while he was playing a game. That's what he was trying to say.
He was in his rabbit cage sucking on that milk bottle watching Avatar.
Okay, let's move on.
Having a rat run in front of him and spread all shit all over his face.
Ugh, it's nasty.
Yeah, the reason I'm bringing this up is because we had that discussion on Zelda, and I wanted to see what people thought with Uncharted. You know, I wanted to see, everybody said there was really not a bad downgrade or anything to Zelda. I want to see what you guys think of Uncharted too. That's a big thing people were talking about. Like, I didn't from a cutscene. To me, it looked like a cutscene with actual gameplay, so I didn't see the downgrade.
Well, you got to understand, Dave. The Zelda, that's made from little kids, you know, coloring books. It takes little kids a long time to color those to get it ready for, you know, like these presentations.
Well, I mean, is the game supposed to look realistic?
What'd you say, Lon?
Well, I mean, is a game supposed to look realistic?
Uncharted? What game are you talking about?
I was asking ourselves. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Talking about Zelda.
You're talking
games are
about.
art nowadays, so games should look beautiful. I don't jump on this bandwagon of graphics don't matter. Like, no, games should look beautiful. They're considered art these days.
Well, that's the next topic, Marks, I want to talk about. I do want to mention that. I just want to get this one through. One Stop for Gamers, so he answered, Grimpachi, do you see a downgrade from Uncharted from the cutscene? I assume it was a cutscene.
Oh, okay. I got to explain what Naughty Dog said because I think a lot of people are getting it misunderstood. Naughty Dog said that what you saw the first time when Drake is getting up and the flies on his face, they said that's not an in-game cutscene. Uncharted has done that before, but that's not what that was. They were saying that the cutscene that they made was using the power of the PlayStation 4. Not that that's what the in-game vision. Matter of fact, if you watch the gameplay part and then they show the part where it's Drake's brother, if you look at that cutscene from gameplay, you can see a level of detail that is added to the cutscene compared to the actual gameplay in that video alone where Drake's jumping around beating up everybody.
Exactly.
It's not a downgrade. But number one, like, it's hard to how can anyone compare a downgrade when it's like two different scenes from the jump? It's hard to even compare that from the beginning. But Naughty Dog never stated it was gameplay, but I get where people believe it is because best believe on PSN chat, Google Plus Hangouts, a lot of people that are extreme fans of Naughty Dog were saying that was gameplay the first time they saw it, and it wasn't, and they didn't even say it was. So no, I don't think it's a downgrade.
All right, cool. Shrike, is that who's Corrupt Gamer? That's Shrike, right?
Yeah, what's up, Dave? Hello, everyone on the podcast.
How's it going, buddy? I'm glad you're going. What do you think about the whole Uncharted thing? Do you think that's a downgrade from what we first seen to now?
Even if it is a downgrade, like, who cares? As long as the game's good, and Uncharted, that's a really good game, so I'm looking forward to it. If you want another thing I want to say, if you want realistic, go outside.
Oh man, I did that, but I pressed Alt F5 and fucked off out of that one.
But yeah, graphics don't matter. It's all about the gameplay.
Yep.
Graphics matter.
It's cold outside right now.
Let's save all that for the next question I got. I want to answer that too. Levon, what do you think?
I think the whole Uncharted 4 thing was different. It was just way different. The gameplay, I was focusing on the gameplay than the graphics. The gameplay looks good.
Okay.
Yeah.
RXL, what do you think?
It's a downgrade from what? I didn't see any gameplay before it.
Yeah, you're with me. I'm the same thing. I didn't see any gameplay before. I thought that was a cutscene. But that Naughty Dog did come out and say, like what Grapachi said. So I don't. And what Bear Huggers.
It's a cutscene. I don't care what Naughty Dog says or what's on N4G about. It was the in-game engine. Like, it's just like gameplay. Like, no, it's a cutscene.
It's pretty easy to tell when it's a cutscene, when the person's not actually taking the character, moving him around, and doing stuff.
Yeah.
I think people need to appreciate what Naughty Dog said before when they said that this is, it's not new technology, but because they're used to developing for, the PlayStation 3, they've had to kind of get the whole thing onto the PlayStation 4. And they didn't have to make this game look as good as it does. I mean, they do because of their passion and stuff. But I should think that people would be more appreciative to what they saw at, the latest gameplay trailer, because it looked fantastic, and you're going to be able to do all those multifunctional features, cross-game chat, sharing the game. I think that's amazing, that achievement alone, especially when you consider the price of the PlayStation 4. You couldn't build a PC. I don't care what anyone says. You couldn't build a PC that has, that level of fidelity in the visuals, because there isn't that development or, coding for that, really.
It's impressive what they pulled off.
It is fucking impressive. That's why people like it.
And you know what? I never even pre-ordered Uncharted when I could have got like $20, $30 off, which I totally should have done because I never saw any gameplay. Right? I saw a trailer, but now that I actually saw a gameplay, I'm like, holy crap! Like, this is phenomenal. And all the mechanics they were showing, they even said that's the tip of the iceberg. So I'm impressed, man.
I like how the guy was hanging on his foot and how it just like how he threw the guy, but then the guy caught his foot. Like, there's so much more mechanics in this new one. I thought it looked great. That to me is going to be like one of the games like when The Last of Us came out. I think they're going to be the first one like that on the PS4. Just mind blowing. I mean,
yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah.
But that's what I think. I think Uncharted's going to be like the first like true next gen game that everybody's going to be going crazy for. I think that's going to be it.
Yeah, but what's crazy though is when they showed Quantum Break, and you can see that Quantum Break had a downgrade, but you don't hear too many people talk about that. Yeah. But even though that it's a slight downgrade, it's not to the point where it's going to keep me from buying the game. Me personally, I think that graphics do matter. I don't know why people keep running their mouth talking about graphics don't matter.
Well, that's the next topic, and I'll start with you, One Stop for Gamers. Do graphics matter?
Hell yeah, it do. You know what I'm saying? I understand people try to make it seem like, oh, well, I'm gonna ride this high horse and say graphics don't. Man, graphics matter, because if you got good graphics, good gameplay, good mechanics, you're not gonna want to play that game. You're not gonna consider that's one of the best games you probably ever played if all those things are intact. Now, if you can, I mean, as a consumer, that's what I look for in games, to have all the above. Now, I know you might say that, well, you can't get all the above, but that's not what was promised to us. All the above was promised to us, and we should be getting that. We shouldn't settle for less and say, okay, well, I mean, it got good mechanics, graphics are shitty, gameplay is so-so, but I still chuck up the $64 for it. Fuck it. Nah. It don't work that way. You know what I'm saying? I just think that as us supporting these companies, and I'm talking about all these companies, us supporting these companies throughout all these years, I think that we deserve to have the best. That's just the way I see it.
Mm-hmm. Does that take consideration for Nintendo?
Say that again?
Does that take consideration for Nintendo?
Of course.
I mean, yeah. I mean, no company is exempt from what I'm saying. Well, see, but when you're dealing with Nintendo, the way I see Nintendo, I feel like they still should pump out the best looking game that their console can create. I'm okay with that. That's why I say graphic matters. If that console can create a game, as long as it looks the best that console can produce, I'm fine with that. If the Xbox One and the PS4 should be able to produce a little graphically, as far as graphic goes, make it look a little better, then okay, that's fine too. But I'm only talking about whatever the consoles can handle. The game should look the best whatever the architecture or the hardware is able to pump out. That's all I'm saying.
Take advantage of the hardware, exactly.
What'd you say, Bear Hugger?
Or I was just saying, like, developers need to take advantage of the hardware.
Yeah. What do you think of this, Bear Hugger? Do graphics matter or no?
Graphics, yes, they do matter to a degree, of course. There's, if I said no, then I'd just be obviously lying to myself, of course. But, however, though, is it something that I look for in the games that I buy? No. That's not even on the top 3 things that I even look for when I buy games. A game can come out and look amazingly beautiful, like, say, Crysis modeled the fucking asshole, for example. And yet, if the gameplay is still there, like, the soundtrack is good, and the storyline's okay, not a problem. Gameplay is always going to be a priority for me first. If a game does come out, looks like shit, but the gameplay is phenomenal, soundtrack's amazing, and the storyline's pretty good, yeah, it's still a buy. Like, Shovel Knight, for me, is a prime example of that. Shovel Knight, is like a game that has the graphic fidelity isn't like old school wise, you know what I mean, if that makes sense? And yet, a lot of people like ignore that game that had on, or had a 3DS or a Wii U, or even on PC for that matter, but now it's coming to the other platforms, which is nice. But for me personally, it doesn't matter because it's something I don't look for. But I do agree with what the other guy was saying there a second ago about the whole entire aspect that games should look their best. I definitely agree with that. But if a game does come out and it doesn't look its best, but it plays well and it, that kind of jazz, I'm not going to ignore it. That's just the way I've always been. So.
But do you like? It's like it's like a hot chick. Like, what attracts you first with a girl? It's not what her personality is. You're first looking at, damn, look at that fucking ass or nice titty. As a girl, you're like, I'd like to fuck that bitch. And you look at like a game like Killzone, like, damn, that thing looks good. But you might get on it and like, this shit sucks. Yeah. So that's first what drew you in was graphics. And what drew you into that girl was her looks. It wasn't her personality. It wasn't her money she had. It wasn't if, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then you found out it was just a selfie.
Yeah, or you got to apply that to that too. It's graphics do matter. And a lot of people get upset and like look at the whole thing with the Wii U. They're like, oh, that's underpowered. So what are they getting at? It's not graphically powerful, And that's what matters to them. They're saying, oh, that's not a powerful machine. Look at the PS4. It's fucking powerhouse. People always say, oh, graphics don't matter, but that's what we look for every generation is this new leap of graphics. And I think that's what happened. And I think that's what's going on with the Wii U, is people are upset it's not doing what the PS4 and Xbox One can do.
Can it do what PS3 and 360 do?
People need to let go of the fucking 360 and the PS3. That is so over.
I agree with you on that, yes.
I just bought 7 games for my PS3. Hashtag deal with it. Mad, bro.
It's something that's another problem with this generation. Them holding on to those ones. We're never going to be cool. Am I doing like that?
Let me reiterate right quick on what Dave just said. Let's be honest here. Remember when we first saw the Uncharted? Even Xbox fans, what's the first thing that hit you right in your face? Was it not those graphics? You see what I'm saying? Like I say, I don't want people to try to take what I'm saying out of context. What I'm saying is it matters. I'm not saying it's the most important. I'm not saying that, but I say
it's something you're looking at constantly when you're playing the game, so you're always looking at it regardless.
I mean, for me, graphics don't really matter. I played plenty of games that I thought looked ugly, but the game itself was great, so it didn't really bother me. But I mean, that's just how I am. I'm more of a gameplay person before anything else. When it came to I'll give you an example. I never been into sim racers ever, but I used to buy them because how good they look, only to realize, hey, I don't like this shit. It doesn't matter how good it look. I don't like this game. So I got out of that at a young age. If a game looks good, I know that could be appealing and maybe want to buy it. But most of the times, I don't get excited over visuals as much as I used to when I was a kid.
Yeah, I can respect that. I just think to a certain extent, graphics, they're not everything. The game has to play good. That's why I don't like Killzone. To me, Killzone looks beautiful, but I think it's a horrible game. I think it plays like shit. That's just me.
That's the worst game on board, man. That's the worst fucking game I've played. Eden.
And David Madden last night's trying. I wish David was here. I don't like, but I talk to him a lot. He was telling me, he's like, Killzone had a story, had this, and I'm like, no, I didn't understand it. Like, I did play, and he was talking about all Killzones. I played the other ones, but I can't sit there and say on the new one I played the story. I only played the multiplayer. But on the other Killzone, I never found a great story that blew me away. I didn't. I never got into Killzone. I think it's a game that they use to show off the graphics of whatever PlayStation console we got at that time. That's a very graphical game, and I just never found the gameplay is just not there for me.
Yeah, it was like that with when they released the first Killzone on PS2. It looked graphically amazing, but the gameplay was just.
Killzone
At least to me it was,
that
anyways.
had a great story direction, but not a good story. That's how it is. You feel like you're in this squad, like in Modern Warfare 2. It's a similar aspect. I'm going to say this. The reason why Little Big Planet 3 didn't do so well is because, look at Minecraft. That game isn't graphically pleasing that much, is it? But it's sold so much. Yep. I like a chick who can also do a good walk, not just look good statically. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, it's like... Let me show you something. These two games here, Final Fantasy XIV Online, Guild Wars 2, they look very pretty, yeah? But without the good gameplay, as being MMORPGs, they wouldn't be anywhere. It's like Dark Souls. Dark Souls looks like trash on the PS3, right? I should know because me and Dragon Quest PC got featured on GameSpot for modding the shit out of the game. You had freaking trees that were 5 polygons. I'm not even kidding. But the gameplay was so fantastic, and the character customization. That's what I want to see with the Uncharted 4's multiplayer. I want to see that. I want to see Uncharted 3's mechanics when it comes to customization, treasure hunting. I want to see that. Graphics are fantastic. They show the technology and everything like that. But without a good storyline and a good narrative vision, if these. It's like the maps in most multiplayer games today. They're broken. They look great, but they don't work as multiplayer maps. That's why Counter-Strike is so successful, because it just fucking works.
Bro, if you look at Guild Wars 1, that's my favorite game of all time, and look at it. It looks terrible.
If you look up Boom, yeah, I'm in that guild right now. We're still running that game. I played Guild Wars 1 even today.
Cool, I
haven't played Guild Wars 1 in fucking forever, man.
Yeah, man.
To me, the Tomb Raider, the new one from Tomb Raider, what it used to be, there was gameplay back then. This new Tomb Raider that they're making, not the one that's about to come out, but I'm just saying the previous one, that was all just, like, the best part to me of that game was the cutscene. I'm like, oh, this looks cool.
The best part about that game was her ass.
Yeah, I never got around to playing that, man.
Tomb Raider with puzzles, and what Tomb Raider was, a challenge. Now it's like it's a pretty game, That's just me. I'm not saying it was bad, but I'm just saying it wasn't like the Tomb Raider I used to play. That was based on, at the time it was, had pretty graphics when we were playing it on I think it was the PS1, but I'm just saying now it's more about graphics, that game, it seems like to me, Yeah. And I'm just saying, too, with this whole argument, graphics do matter. Old Dirty, what do you think about this? Do graphics matter to you?
Yeah, that's the first thing I see when I see a game. You know what I'm saying? Is how it looks. You know what I'm saying? And after I see how it looks, I definitely want to know how it plays. So if it catch my interest, you know what I'm saying, with the gameplay, you know what I'm saying, then I'm hooked in. But yeah, that's the first thing I see is the visuals, and that's what kind of, hooks me, and the gameplay just wheels me in.
Yep. Like a nice car. You see like a fucking Ferrari, and then you look at a Pinto. You're like,
let's keep it real. Even back in the day, you know what I'm saying, when we used to go to the Toys R Us or wherever you used to shop at the games, the first thing you do when you look at the game, you turn it around and try to look and see what it looks like. Yeah. I remember those days. And if that game looked like dog shit, you weren't gonna buy it. And you might not even know what it was about. You know what I'm saying? If it looks fun, you will buy it. But normally, when we used to look at those games and look in the back and read what it's about, and if it looks appealing enough, you purchase it. But at the end of the day, the first thing, even then, you still look to see what it looks like. It is what it is.
Well, it's the same thing when you look at the magazine days, right? And you look at screenshots in the magazine clips. You look at that, it's like, oh, that game looks pretty cool. you would go on a limb with that. You know what I mean? Because like videos back then, there's no internet. That was pre-internet.
Yeah.
People always seem to make it. People always seem to make it graphics versus gameplay. Games are supposed to have both.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I was saying.
I think like everybody is like, you know, it's just in the eye of the beholder. I mean, because graphically, like, you know, Bear Hugger was saying, one of my favorite games that came out this year was Shovel Knight. But graphically, is that game a graphical game? No, it looks like an NES, Super NES type game. But at the same time, it's like that game does look visually appealing to me. But I mean, to others, it may just look like an old ass game. So, I mean, hey, I've heard people say like fucking Vita games look like they're in 1080p. I don't know. Don't ask. Look, I don't know.
Well, it's like me for last gen, like with a game called Nier that came out that Square Enix released last year.
That was a good game.
That was the game that a lot of people say, "Oh, it looks like a PS2 game," but yet the gameplay for that game was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that game was awesome. It looks like shit.
And the soundtrack was amazing on top of that.
It looks a little bit like Shadow Colossus, in my opinion. The art style. A little bit. Nier? No, just like how it was like very faded and just kind of had that atmosphere, you know. And then mixed with like Darksiders with all the wicked music and gameplay.
I'll tell you a game, and I know I'm probably going to get ridiculed for saying this. It was probably one of my favorite games of last generation, and it looks like garbage, but I love the game, and that's Raccoon City.
Wait, which one?
Raccoon City. You heard me correctly. Resident Evil.
Operation Raccoon City?
Hell no.
Operation Raccoon City. Fucking right on. I'm with you on that one.
I love that game.
I love Operation Raccoon City.
It looks like dirt, but
yeah, it does, and it does have its fucking playment moments that are bullshit. But that game is just fucking fun, man.
I just want to say that I agree with King Kambrachi when he said earlier that graphics don't matter. I'm the same. Like graphics don't really matter to me. It's all about gameplay, having a good story, not a broken game. That's what matters to me when I buy a game, not graphics. Like I have Kingdom Hearts. I recently bought Kingdom Hearts 2.5 HD Remix. To get all the, it comes with all the games, the collector edition. And I also have Kingdom Hearts 2 on the PS2. I rather play it on the PS2 just for nostalgic sake.
Yeah, there are people out there that prefer playing like the original version and not the HD version and whatnot. Yeah.
If you can appreciate that and that's what does it for you, man, I can respect that.
But for me, it's like I said, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, ignore a game that has good gameplay and amazing graphic fidelity. I'm not gonna ignore it. You know what I mean? But if the game doesn't have the graphic fidelity, but everything else is there, like I said, story, gameplay, and music-wise, that's fine with me. That's the main three things I look for in my games that I buy. Graphics is just, if it's there, it's there. If it's not, I don't care.
I can respect that. I just think graphics matter to some extent. Like that's why you got so many people that are upset with the Wii U. Like not the fans that are on the Wii U. I'm talking about a lot of people that say, "Oh, it's underpowered." They're all aiming at graphics. They're like, it can't do what this. Like the whole Batman thing. The Batmobile supposedly can't run on the Wii U. You know, and shit like that. The graphics of everything. You know, graphics do matter to a certain extent. It's not. I'm with you. A lot of you guys like the gameplay. It has to be there too. That's like Killzone. It's a beautiful game. It would attract me, but when I play it, it plays like shit. You know, and I don't like it. You know.
Now to me, if I'm going, okay, I'm going to compare walking through a perfectly realistic steel corridors compared to a cartoony, beautiful landscape with like all these different types of all these colors and just a wicked art style. I'll take that any day over like a corridor. It's to me, it's more art style than graphics. Like not all games need to be that high resolution.
I agree. I think it depends on the game, on what type of game it is too. But I just want to throw this out there. I mean, I'm quite sure the Wii U can make games that looks a lot more better graphically. If you want a broken game, a half-ass game with full of DLC, I'm quite sure they can do that. But at the end of the day, Nintendo, they're giving us a full game that looks tip top for what that system can offer. They give us that, so I can't argue with them about that. Yeah.
All right.
Well, how would you guys feel if this generation, Microsoft and Sony said, you know what, we're bringing you these new consoles. They're going to have all these new next-gen features, but graphically and horsepower-wise, they're going to look exactly the same. How many of you guys would have jumped out and got that PS4 or that Xbox One?
I probably wouldn't have cared because I jumped up.
I wouldn't care personally. I would just buy it for the games.
Yeah, I bought for. I mean, I jumped up. I got a
buy
Wii
it
U.
for the graphics.
A Wii U.
Yeah. Maybe you guys wouldn't have, but a majority of people would have said, "Fuck that."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, I guess it just boils down to people's preference.
It's a personal preference thing.
Look at how many people, for example, are using. I don't know how many of you. I know a lot of you in here own a PS4. Some of you don't. You might not know about this feature. It's called PlayStation Live or whatever it is, where they're on Twitch and Ustream, and they're just literally sitting there with their PlayStation and talking to people. And you'll ask some of the people, "What game do you play?" You'll ask in the comment section. They usually say Call of Duty, but they probably don't even really play that. A lot of people just bought it for that feature, it seems like, that they could put a fucking live reality show of themselves every day and talk to people. Like, that's crazy. That's what it's
Or showing their girlfriend's tits on camera. Or showing their girlfriend's tits on camera like that one guy did at the launch. Remember that shit?
Or make a porno.
Yeah, that was funny as fuck, man.
There was a girl on there last night that literally, or about 2 weeks ago, my bad, not last night, that literally was getting on there stripping to get people over to her cam to pay for her. You know, that was
I'm not surprised. I'm not fucking surprised in the slightest, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird ass shit that happens on that.
Yeah. And now they want the girls like clothed, like they can't wear anything that's sex appealing on Twitch. Now Ustream, that's a whole other fucking ball game. They're like, I see one girl grinding and everything, fucking like she was literally working the pole on her camera, like. And her husband's in the back, like, pointing at her, and they're just baiting people in to get on their other thing where they have, like, a cam room, and she'll do what you want for her. I had a friend, my friend that I've been friends a long time, she used to do that shit. And they make a shit ton of money doing that. But it's just crazy. That's like a feature I noticed a lot of people bought the PS4 for. I even seen Bible study on the fucking thing. A guy talking about the Bible.
Hey,
Like,
Really?
Sunday Mass, there you go. Now on PlayStation fucking...
Dave, can I say one more thing about the graphics?
Yeah.
Topic? Alright, so I recently bought Okami for the PS2, and there's an HD version of it, I think on the PS3 and Wii. I'm not too sure, I have to look into
the Wii
it.
version's not HD, bro.
Alright, well, there's an HD version. And I bought it. The reason I bought it on the PS2 is because I'd rather play it on what the game originally came out for. It first came out on the PS2. I'd rather play it on the PS2 than the HD version.
Yeah, it's like I'd rather go back on the GameCube and play Resident Evil fucking 4 than play that shitty ass HD version that Capcom released a few years back on the PS3.
But a majority of people want the new version. A lot of people, like, there is gamers...
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Well, Okami HD stayed pretty true to its original form. It just has better loading times, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm different. I rather play it on the system it came out for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just boils down to people's preference at the end of the day.
Yep. Alright, next topic I want to ask people. Okay, with Project Morpheus coming and the whole thing with North Korea, you know, with them taking that movie down on Sony's movie, what's it called? The interview?
Yeah, the interview.
Do you think this could have say Morpheus didn't work. Say it just didn't work. Do you think that could maybe make Sony go bankrupt?
What?
The whole thing with the movie that's going on, if they lose money in that, and then if say the Morpheus just completely fails.
Will it make them bankrupt? I don't know, but I mean, really, I don't know. I really just don't have an answer for it. I don't know.
Are you getting that from investors or from Fox
No,
News?
I'm just talking about a regular conversation that I've been having with people about that whole thing with, a lot of people think this Project Morpheus is going to change gaming. Like, but there's a lot of people that don't want virtual reality,
I think it's gonna tank for me.
And if that fails, where do you think Sony will be with they are, in all reality, Sony's not in the best shape when it comes to, like, money, period. Would that hurt Sony, do you think, to where they might end up like Sega? I mean, that's what I'm trying to ask.
Not in Sega, no.
Come on.
I can answer the virtual reality part. Maybe not that, because really what people don't know with a lot of those virtual reality helmets and stuff like that they're using Android phone screens. Half the cost for those things are probably not even expensive. You can go get you can go make your own for $100. They're not expensive. You can use your normal phone. It's not the technology of some like alien advanced technology. It's using the gyroscope in your phone to project the image to your eyes. There's nothing amazing about it. So maybe not that. And I don't think this one movie will fuck up Sony. But if this constantly keeps happening, then yeah, it will.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, maybe I need to change this. All right. Do you think that we're talking about the whole discussion about this whole Project Morpheus? Do you guys think that this is going to work, or like if Sony does have a lot of money invested in this, but I'm saying, like, are you guys on board with this? Do you want virtual reality? Do you think it's going to change gaming? Is this the leap that everybody needed? Like, because graphics certainly weren't the leap that we got this generation, because it isn't much different from last generation.
Oh, man.
So do you think that this virtual reality, do you think it's going to actually be a go? Do you think it's going to work, or do you think it's going to fail? Let me think.
I'll start.
Fail too. I just have a bad feeling.
I'll start. I think that we need a different gimmick besides virtual reality. Don't you think?
What do you think the gaming industry needs to get everybody to say, oh, there's the change that we wanted, or this is the new direction that everybody wants?
That's going to be R1 to explain.
You know, in the 80s, there would be like movies and TV shows about the future where like you would talk to your electronics and it would do things for you, and now that's everyday life. You can talk to your phone and it can like search the internet for you, and all these things that we predicted are happening, and virtual reality is just one of those things that it's gonna happen.
You know what else they predicted?
It will.
Aliens.
I think it's gonna happen, but I don't think it's gonna go anywhere personally. I mean, like, people don't want to use certain devices. I mean, everybody just wants to use the controller, and at the end of the day, you have to use the controller with the Oculus Rift, Morpheus, or whatever. But a lot of people are saying now, like, yeah, these devices are cool, but most people are saying, well, I can't use this thing for long. I'm getting a headache. I can't use this thing for long. It makes me distorted. I don't see how that's going to work out. I mean, voice commands, I remember things in movies of the future that things had voice commands. You came in your house, told your TV stuff, you talked to your toaster. Did anybody like to connect? No. So I don't know if that's going to work out too well.
Haven't they tested that to see if people are actually getting dizzy from it? People
are saying like they cannot use that thing.
The Oculus Rift is a prime example of that.
Yeah, most gamers play more than 5 minutes. Like 5 minutes is what, a couple of Mario levels? Like if you're only going to use that thing think about it, you're paying probably. You can make your own Oculus Rift or whatever for like $100, $150. But let's be honest, Microsoft and Sony is going to sell you that thing for maybe $250, maybe even $300 to use something for 5 minutes at a time because it's giving you a headache. And like, I don't think no matter how advanced technology gets, that's not going to go away. It's the fact that you're having something on your face that's making it's motion involved, and you're probably not going to get used to that. So I don't know if it's going to be cool. People are going to use it. It's just like 3D TVs, like
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 3D TVs failed. In my opinion, it didn't really do nothing. And same thing with the Kinect, that failed. So if this fails, a lot of people think this is the next step in gaming, is this virtual reality, which I would have thought we would already been there by now.
Yeah.
So has this been proven that it does give people headaches and make people dizzy and whatever? Like
You don't give me a headache.
if that's been proven, then I don't see how they would go through with it if they haven't done that marketing
I
research.
mean, if you look at Oculus Rift, that's been
There are
around now
people
for a
that
while.
doesn't give a headache though. You gotta take that consideration though. There are people out there that don't get headaches from 3D.
Well, like, shouldn't they conduct a survey and figure out what percentage of people that affects?
You know, the 3DS gives people headaches, but it's sold like hotcakes.
Yeah, like
But no one
you had the
uses-
option to
no
turn
one-
off, though.
yeah, no, but no one uses that damn 3D either.
I use the 3D.
I mean,
I use it all the time myself.
I mean, majority
Well, I
of
have my
people
3DS.
don't even probably use that 3D technology in it. They turn that shit off.
Yep.
Yeah, because a lot of people seem to think this is gonna take off, and I don't know. I'm very questionable about it.
I don't believe that it's going to take off. I mean, you know, we all seen how it looked. It could be a prototype, but still, you have something sitting on your head and this big gigantic thing over your eyes and damn near your mouth. You know, and you're not going to sit on your couch looking like that. You know what I'm saying? You can't see around you what's going on. Your full attention is within his helmet. And if you don't like 3D TV, that's wearing regular 3D glasses that look like shades, then you're not going to put this big thing on your face.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
You don't think a bunch of dirty old men aren't going to buy it just to watch porno?
No, I mean, I'm pretty
Or like the
sure.
people
People are gonna buy it. Like I said, in a out of gaming, this technology may be used for something other than that. Like, but from gaming standpoint, most gamers want to do what they want to sit down with their controller, keyboard, and mouse, whatever they're using. And at the end of the day, you still have to use your controller. So what you're probably gonna do is you're gonna buy this thing for $250, and you're gonna use it for a couple of days. You might even use it for a good while, and then you're gonna sit back and say, "I still need my controller. This is kind of stupid."
Yeah.
Well, that was like the Wii. The Wii was like that. I couldn't get into the whole motion control. I think people are gonna have issues with this virtual reality where they're gonna be like, because a lot of people bought a Wii. Besides hardcore Nintendo fans, a lot of people that loved it. They used it for a fucking week, and then it was in their fucking closet.
That's a great example.
Dust, yep.
Yep.
And some people don't want the whole Kinect and moving around and all that, and some people aren't going to want to stand up in the air with a fucking virtual reality headset on there. I think it's going to have to be on point, and it's going to have to cost. The price is going to have to be right, because they say it's ranging anywhere from $200 to $400. Sony's going to release this thing at.
Yeah, well, they can kiss my ass on that.
I mean, one thing I thought was cool when it came to technology was like the thing that the Kinect was supposed to do, where it kind of projected shit on your wall. But I think Microsoft said it cost too much money to put that out, and they didn't know how it was going to do. Like, that was cool, but even though it's cool in my eyes, I know that wasn't going to last long either. People were just going to stop using that shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and why I bring the whole bankruptcy thing into the mix too. If that failed, didn't they have a lot of investments and all that into this whole like Project Morpheus?
Yeah, I mean,
and then they got that whole eco. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think they should either like what Sony should do is, I don't know, like unless they can make this thing for dirt cheap, which they can, and sell it like for a high price, and they don't like just mass produce it. They like make small amounts of them. They could make a profit, even though it won't last long, but they could make some money off of it. They could, or they could sell their technology to someone else. That's how they can make their money. But as in leaning on the gamers to just buy this thing and use this thing all the time, no, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's gonna be good with certain games. Say they did Call of Duty with that thing. That would probably work out well if it worked right. Like how you could throw frag grenades and you're in the game and you're shooting. Like, because they had something on one of the O'Reilly Packard shows or something where this guy made a virtual reality gun game. And that was around the time where the whole video game violence was going on, and that's why the guy was on the show. And he had a bunch of people on the guy's show try it out, like people in the back, the camera people and everything, and they all loved it. And the guy said literally, he's like, I hope your product don't make it. He's like, but all your people that work here loved it, And it was literally, you were actually like holding a gun.
Yeah, it was a real gun he had.
I mean, it might work.
Well, Well, see, that's the kind of virtual reality that I want. I mean, as far as the helmet and moving your head back and forth, up, down, left, or right, or any direction, that's not really virtual reality to me. But me being able to like manipulate objects with my own hands, like in the game, picking up things that I want to pick up, or using like a fake gun or whatever all that.
You can do that with the virtual reality. They made these so you can even use them to develop games with your hands. You're just grabbing things like Tom.
Well, yeah, that's the kind of thing that
you can do that. They designed it so that it can implement that into the game.
I was reading about that for Oculus Rift there a little while back. Somebody's already working on like some kind of like interactive glove that you can wear that connects to the Oculus Rift.
Dude, like the mouse and keyboard is old school. I can't even use it because I use it at work, but any more than that, like for gaming and certain tedious tasks, it's bad wrists and shit. It's old school, man.
I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I mean, it's just like, they have smart TVs, and smart TVs are successful, but let's be honest. If you got a smart TV, more than likely you have a tablet. More than likely you have an Android phone, an iPhone, or whatever. Yeah, you have a janky YouTube app on your fucking TV, but you're just going to probably grab your phone, your tablet, or whatever, your laptop. You're going to use it there. Your TV has voice commands. You could easily come in and say whatever you need to say to make it turn on, but more than likely, you're going to spend 5 minutes digging on that couch for that remote. Like, people are just stuck in their ways. They're not going to change.
But it does have capabilities. Like, you can really tweak things with that. Like, you can use all your little finger motions and everything. So, with motion detection.
It falls under 2, and Alt's going to fall under 2 if these developers don't want to be lazy and actually develop for this thing. If they're going to be lazy about it, I don't think it'll work.
That's your biggest problem.
Agree 100%, Dave.
If they're going to put a half-assed virtual reality game out there that don't really do anything, it's not going to work. It all depends if these developers are on board and they're ready to fucking go in on this shit. If they're like half-assing it, no, it won't work.
That could be why Sony is taking a while to actually come out with this fucking thing.
Yeah. Jimmy Fallon
trying to get developers to work on it, yeah.
It was on the Jimmy Fallon show, Kanem Tanem or whatever the hell his name was. Literally, it showed the guy moving his hand like this, like he could see his hand in the game going like this. Like, that was pretty cool. I mean, it all has to be done right. I mean, that's everybody that has tried it liked it that I've seen when I look at things, but they said it's something you have to experience yourself. That you can't look at it on a YouTube video and get, like, you know what I'm saying? It's more of you have to experience yourself.
Yeah, same with the Oculus Rift too as well. It's like it's one of those things you have to see for yourself in order to get the better experience of it.
Because I think it was like E3 a couple years back, they said that was one of the main attractions that we get to see. Like, you had it was something to do with a spaceship or something. It was something with virtual reality, and they said it was amazing, but it wasn't something that they talked about really. But I don't know. I just wanted to bring that into the whole conversation. I think anybody else got any other topics they want to talk about?
So like this has been happening, like Anchorman V, the Pod Stay Cow. People I do like to watch, so it's not like anything like that. But one thing that I don't get is the whole stop buying last gen games. I don't understand why that matters. You know why that's a big deal to people?
Like, why people want, like, is it talking about, like, dropping last-gen games?
Like, yeah, like, it's a lot of people that want people to buy next-gen consoles, stop buying last-gen games, and they want the developers to stop making last-gen games.
Well, why would that be a bad?
But why would that, but, I mean, I'm just saying, why would that be like I don't get why that's like a big concern to someone.
Because they have it in their head that basically there's a team that makes a game for the PS4, and that because they have to make a PS3 version, like somehow they're taking members of that group and
that's not the case.
That's not the case.
That's not the case at all. And then even if that was the case, this is what I have to say. Just like when you're growing up, when you have two different things you need to do, if you do them both right and the best of your abilities, it won't matter that you have multiple things to do. You do them right, it'll come out right. So even if that was the case, like people are complaining that Call of Duty is selling very well on last gen machines, but as far as I'm understanding, most people are saying the new Call of Duty looks like a next gen title and plays really good, and it's a step up. But they're mad that the last gen copy is selling a lot, and they're saying that the last gen copy held back the next gen game, which doesn't make sense because no one, I really have never heard anyone say that before. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome to YouTube. Yeah, you know what though? If it all goes digital, I'll be buying plenty more last gen. I'm already stocking up for Armageddon.
Another question. I mean, the reason why I think they need to let go of last generation, I think with them focusing on that generation, they're not focusing on this generation. Obviously, Nintendo dropped the fucking Wii. You know, they're focusing on the Wii U. With these third-party developers focusing on last gen and all that, we're not getting these new next-gen games, I think, because they still have to develop for next gen. I see where they're coming from, but, I mean, I think, what other generation did they hold on to last generation this long?
All of them, pretty much.
They were still making all these games like 2 years later?
Yes. And it's really only really been 1 year if you want to count like all the systems being out. It's only been like a year.
They just stopped making PlayStation 2
games. Like they don't
now.
Like sports games, right?
Yeah, but see, okay, that's a good example, right? FIFA, because it's played everywhere and a lot of countries can't. I don't think they have PS3s or they can't afford it. No one has ever uttered, well, they're making a PS2 copy of FIFA. They must have downgraded the next. No one has ever said that shit. No one's ever said that the PS2 copy of FIFA 14 downgraded. No one said the Wii copy of Madden 10 downgraded the 360 PS3 copy. No one has ever said that.
Like, they're not focusing on last-gen versions of it because they're different teams that they hire out. They send out to make those games. Plus, the fact that we got new consoles. We got the new consoles because the developers were making that push for more powerful hardware.
But I don't even think it's even a focus. Like, you don't, like, if your arm itch, you just scratch it. It's not like oh man, I need to really focus on scratching my arm. It's kind of like they're just they're half-assing the games anyway. If you look at the last gen copies, I bet you if Destiny only released on last gen machines, Destiny would probably play a lot better than it does now on last gen machines, but it plays like shit because they were focusing on next gen, and the shit they did for the last gen copy was just that. It was just them throwing it together, basically. So really, they are focusing on the next gen copy, and the half-ass work they do for the last gen is almost kind of whatever. It's kind of like they took the scraps of what they didn't use before and threw a game together. It's not.
And then that helps them to fund.
Yeah, it brings in more money too. So I mean.
So pretty much everybody in here wants them to stay on last generation and just keep developing for that.
I mean, there's a market for it. I mean, I wouldn't tell. I mean, business-wise, if there's people buying the shit, I mean, why wouldn't you do it?
I don't understand why people would think that way because if you're putting your game on next gen and last generation consoles, you're gonna have more people get a chance to play that game.
Yes, but at the same time, it's making it to where there's giving nobody a reason to jump to next gen.
Yeah. There has to be.
There's no reason. Like, if there has to be Destiny for last generation, why the fuck didn't I just keep my PS3 and fuck PS4 spending $400?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, there has to be at some point where
no reason
they stop supporting last generation. Yeah, that's what I gotta say.
But what about the?
But eventually there's going to be a game that's going to come out that you want for that console, though.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say there's no reason because there's visually better. The consoles themselves are better machines. They do different things that the last gen consoles don't do. They run better. They're not as slow. There are reasons. It's just to those people they don't care. Like that's not enough. And the thing is like one thing that I don't get is people just automatically assume the reason why they're not moving to next gen, they can't afford it. How about they're not moving because they don't want it could just be they don't want the damn thing.
Yeah.
If they won the lottery, do you think they would own a next gen console?
They would probably buy a fucking sports. They'll probably buy a sports. They'll probably buy a bunch of shit. But I'm saying, like, think about it. If you have a last gen console and you can't afford a next gen console, but you're still buying 60 games day one a pop, you can do the math. You could have bought that next gen console probably 2 or 3 times over, so you can afford it. You can save up for it or whatever. But
I can do the math. You can do the math. There's like 80 million people who can't figure that out yet.
So I mean, think about it. If someone understands, yeah, I'm still buying games $60 new, then yeah, they must know. Or at least some of them. I mean, obviously there are people that don't get that. Some of them at least know. Yeah, I can afford this thing if I wait, or maybe then you don't have to wait. Maybe some people just don't want it.
You literally got people that are like, ooh, the PS4 version's $60 and the PS3 version is $49.99. I think I'll wait a little bit longer.
I just feel this generation ain't gonna really take off till that generation's done. Like if they're gonna keep they're giving people no reason to buy, and if the more people are buying last generation consoles, they're gonna still always make last generation consoles.
I think it's going to be a lot better next year. I think there's going to be reasons to buy, next gen systems because you have Bloodborne coming out, you have The Order, you have
Scalebound takes my money for Xbox One next year.
I could have sworn they were already doing pretty well this generation.
You have Star Fox and Zelda.
I mean, what these companies do, which is pretty smart, what they do is they'll release the same game on both last gen and next gen, and the next gen copy is always better. I've never had a situation where it's not, and it as time goes on, they're still releasing last gen copies, but that last gen copy is getting worse and worse. And
yep,
worse
look at Shadows of Mordor on the PS3 and Xbox.
But see, at the same time, it's like this. Okay, the company is doing that because it probably doesn't cost any money to make those last gen copies of games anymore, and they're making money and pushing you to eventually buy the new console. So
you might even buy the game again.
You're gonna probably double a dip. You're gonna buy it twice.
Kangaroo, what about the Wii U version?
The Wii U version, I mean, well, that's a different scenario because the Wii U games, a lot of those games that come from PS3, whatever, visually are the same visuals.
Yeah, they are.
And then the controls, the gamepad isn't used, so that's not an excuse to say, well, at least I get new controls. So that's a different scenario. That's kind of like
yeah, that is.
You got the same game, and sometimes with the Wii U version, it's kind of worse than what you had before. So yeah.
With all these Black Friday deals and the fact that you can actually trade in your old games and consoles, there's no reason to not have one of these new consoles out.
Not to.
But I'm like Wolflow. Like my PS3 is like fucked up. Like I can't sell my PS3. There's too many games that I still damn thing. And it's not new games. It's just games I never picked up.
Guys, this shit's gonna be like 3 hours.
Well, we're just bullshitting. You can if you want to leave.
Oh, I just don't know who's gonna watch it.
I don't know this. I don't know this holiday season. I plan on getting a next gen console. It's gonna either be the best box or the PS4.
I'm getting a PS4.
Would you guys like? Would you guys like some new release games for like $35?
Was that those last gen copies of Far Cry 4?
No, you know how when you buy the console, you get your choice of one of 4 new games? Like
with the PS4, yeah.
Yeah, those are on eBay for like $35.
Dang.
There's deals everywhere. You could buy Xbox One right now for $350. It comes with an extra controller, comes with both Assassin's Creed games, and a $70 gift card. I mean, there are deals out the wazoo, so there's no excuse, man. You shouldn't have one, but the only excuse, I guess, would be is you don't want it.
Yeah, some people might also be just waiting and seeing where it goes.
Yeah,
nobody never wants, nobody doesn't want the better version of something.
I mean,
except for Zero, straight.
Yeah, I mean, RXL, I have a reason why, I don't have a PS4 yet. There's, not a lot that interests me right now, but there's,
pretty much
we're
the
gonna get
same
like a lot more
games.
games like next year.
Pretty much the same games that come out for the PS3 are coming out for the PS4 now. Like the releases are identical.
Yeah, but I buy I'm probably the only one, but I buy consoles for their exclusives. I mean, yeah, I get third party too, but yeah, I buy for exclusives, and there's not a lot of exclusives that interest me on the PS4, but there will be next year.
Okay.
So that's why I don't have a PS4 yet.
Yeah, but I think like games like Call of Duty, with them releasing that on last gen, if they didn't release that on last generation, that would be something that would force people into this generation, Advanced Warfare.
Especially the Call of Duty fans, man.
Why the hell wouldn't they
That would
release
not
it
people
last
right
gen though? They made a crap ton off of it.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that would have made them jump to next gen. But when them making games like Destiny and Call of Duty for last gen. It
Third party though.
it
Already,
wasn't season.
I don't see too many first party games going last gen.
One thing else I want to throw out there is like when people say, you know, if they didn't focus on the, like, I know RXL already explained that, like, half the time it's a different team, but a lot of people believe that when they make a last gen copy of a next gen game, that the time and effort or the little bit of money that that game costs could have been used for the next gen copy. Okay, last time I checked, Drive Club is only on PS4, and that game came out what? Like dirt. Halo Master Chief Collection is only on Xbox One. It came out like dirt. I mean, that whole time thing, that really doesn't matter. If the developer isn't really going to develop a game correctly, regardless of how much time they get, it's not going to come out right.
Yeah, that's a problem. We're getting, you know, a lot of broken games. Games should be, you know, they should be tested out, fixed before, you know, you put it out on store shelves.
Yeah, you know what? It's the same people that are putting out broken games. You got to watch out for, because it tells you what do they really care about. If they like, they can make up for it if they want and give you some DLC. But if they're releasing broken games and they're happy with giving you that game, what does that tell you right there?
I mean, people are already making jokes about it. Like when they, like, apparently there's a rumor going around. Like this part isn't a rumor. Like if you have Master Chief Collection, you get ODST campaign and Halo 2 map. Like that's not a rumor, but there's a rumor that eventually there's going to be a physical bundle that just comes with that extra shit in there, and people are calling it the We Fucked Up edition, like our bad edition. Like it's getting stupid.
I wouldn't be surprised if that rumor does become true.
Well, pretty much that's all the topics I got. Is if anybody else wants anything else to add, we're gonna shut this one down. We're at like the 2-hour marker, I guess. But does anybody else want anything to add that they want to talk about, or? All right, Old Dirty, thank you for joining.
Always, Dave.
Bear Hugger 29, it was an honor having you on here, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, man. I was glad to be here, man.
Grimpachi, as always.
The best box.
Corrupt Gamer, thank you for joining us.
No problem.
Vaughn, as always.
Thank you, and rate, comment, subscribe to my channel, Levon Kaysen, to see more gameplay, reviews, and other things.
RXL, as always.
Thank you for having me, and do not rate, comment, or subscribe to my channel. As a matter of fact, I'm kicking some of you motherfuckers off of it.
And Wolfblow, as always.
Yeah, rate, subscribe to everybody here, except for RXL, of course.
All right, till next time, guys.